Good morning. So today is Sunday, January 2nd, 2022. And today's message is opportunities are everywhere. I have a multitude of choices. It's only day two. Yesterday I posted January 1st reading, which was the Vision Board Tarot spread. I mentioned that my New Year's resolution was to really start a very spiritual practice this year, and keeping me on track is doing a spread every day. And so I am going back and looking through Sasha Grahams' 365 tarot spreads book that I used years ago. It's interesting because when I look through the book, it's funny, I wrote the year that I did it and the spread that I got in the book, and things are changing, which is good and exciting. So I'm doing this as a collective reading. So I'm excited for today's, and I changed up my sort of setup today to align with today's reading. So today's reading is the Speak with Ancestors spread. Now for Christmas, a really special person in my life gifted me this beautiful tapestry with stones to start doing crystal grids for setting intentions during different, moon cycles, or in general, whenever I have something that I want to communicate with, and using the crystal energy to do so. So I looked it up, and this particular layout that I did is an ancestral connection crystal grid, and I thought it was really appropriate for today's spread, which again is the Speak with Ancestors spread. So I'm going to finish shuffling here. I am using the same deck from yesterday. I just totally blinked. It's the Enchanted Dreams tarot deck. So I'm going to lay out the cards while I talk a little bit about why today is the Speak with Ancestor spread. So on this day, in Haiti, they bring in the new year while honoring the past and those that have passed on. And they do that as a way of paying homage to those who perished fighting during the Haitian independence in the early 19th century. And that's where this spread originates from. Let's see here. And what you're sort of summoning as you're doing this spread, this is a collective reading spread. I will link the meaning of each card below. So if you want to do this for yourself and then really focusing on calling in someone you want to speak to, you can. And I'll walk through what each card symbolizes here. But the way you would set this up and what you're summoning is, would you like to speak to your ancestors? Communicate with the spirit world using tarot and conversations with your angel spirits and guides, your ancestors, to bring forth sort of what springs up between the cards and candles. You can't see it in the shop. I do have some candles lit in the back. And so you can use this spread to sort of have that conversation with souls of family members who have gone before you, or, friends, people that are, special to you. Now, a question that I know comes up when I do readings, people ask, how do you know when you're communicating with an ancestor, a spirit, a guide? And honestly, it really just, you got to trust yourself. Like you will know when they're speaking with you, and you will know when they have left. It really is an intuitive process. And so I think this is a really good spread. It's January 2nd. I think it's a good place to begin as we're learning sort of, for me, really cementing down my own practice, but also, hopefully getting other people to do so as well, and that anybody can read tarot. So let's get started here. In this first position card, we have, so the casting of the cards is like family magic, and wisdom is sort of collected by shaping the cards like you would almost like a tree, like this. So this first card here is, who am I speaking with? So as a collective, with this King of Pentacles, what is coming up is that we're speaking to, we have a masculine energy. Does not need to be a man per se. It can be, but there's definitely a masculine energy. Also a very grounded, earthly energy. So a very stable, harmonizing, grounded presence is who is here with us. In the second card, what talent thrives in our family? So as a collective, what is this talent that drives our family? And we have the Six of Swords. If you watched the January 1st reading, this might make sense because this was our overriding theme yesterday in our vision board spread. And it tells me that as a collective, as I'm channeling that energy to get the messages in, if the talent that thrives within us as a community is in this new year of 2022, it's really ushering in what we desire within us to keep us, grounded. And what we're being told is that as a collective, we are ready. What is driving within us is this talent to discern what does not belong to us, what is hindering us, what is blocking us. We are able to release that and move away from it towards what is ours, towards that North Star, following our true purpose. And that is what thrives among us as a spiritual community. Like I said, I'm focusing here on the grid, and there is a green stone here for the sort of the heart chakra, awakening of that in this ancestral connection grid. And with this really lots of greens in this King of Pentacles card, and then this moving away, we have a lot of clear quartz crystals on the grid. And that's really that's clearing again. And with the Six of Swords, really clearing and opening a path for us is what thrives within us. And this third card, what is the overlying challenge or lesson of our family? And we got the Tower. Again, I got the cold chills. So what is this challenge, or I would say not so much a challenge, but this lesson is that we are in a Tower energy moment here as a collective to tear down, to rebuild. And the tearing down can be literal in many cases. People might be moving, you might be changing jobs, it's a new year, you might be setting intentions. Maybe your vision board from yesterday really encompasses these true desires that you have not put forth before, and just thinking about them and then writing them out has made them real. And as that manifestation becomes, you'll have these Tower moments where you face something that you truly want. And so just speaking it and giving it life will tear down that block that you had before in holding that back, that desire back from yourself, from your family and friends, but really about yourself. So as we have this grounded presence here today guiding our reading, and this message of us being able to release what doesn't serve us to move forward, we are going to be shattering some of those past beliefs and blockages that we had, things that were not great, when we imagine what we want for ourselves in this new year. And our, communicating here with our ancestors, our guides, it's telling us that this is where we're aligning ourselves. In this fourth place, we have what is the legacy that we hold, that we each hold as individuals, as a collective. For this reading, we got the Knight of Wands. Again, this was a card we got yesterday in that very creative space. And so I think that what our ancestor is telling us right now is that the legacy we hold is this ability to live outside of our mental body and to really anchor into our center, right? To be rooted. Like I said, this King of Pentacles is a very grounded, rooted, stable energy. And that is our legacy. It's this grounded energy that's fueled by passion, desire, love, all of these really great and exciting energies that flow within us that oftentimes get stagnant or blocked by our overthinking things and trying to figure stuff out ourselves without just living in the present moment and letting things happen. And so we're, as this Tower moment is our lesson, it frees us up to really hold on and embrace this legacy of living, really living through our heart space and through our desires and our passions and our creativity, and letting that rise. As this is a new year, what is something that hopefully in the vision board yesterday, you were able to name something that maybe seems silly to you, even saying it out loud because you're afraid that someone's going to judge it or not understand it. It could be, I moved recently and I have a ton of pictures. And so I was telling my son, we're going to start scrapbooking pictures or putting pictures in albums so that we can bring them in the house, or what's the point of just having boxes and boxes of pictures? But, I have friends that said, oh, don't do that. Just digitize them and keep them on a hard drive. And I thought, no, I want the process of looking at a physical picture and putting it in an album and having it out. So when people come over, like if I have them on a hard drive, I'm not going to look at them ever. But it's been a kind of a tongue-in-cheek debate amongst some friends of mine to, that have opinions about things like that. And so that thought just popped into my head. As I'm thinking about this, and what is this legacy? And the legacy is that we honor what we want, whatever that is, and we speak it so we can start tearing past those blockages that that our mind puts on ourselves. And remember that if we stay grounded to these desires, these other things will lift and move away. In the 5 spot, we have what are your hopes for me? So if we're asking our ancestor that's present, that we've called in today, what is their hopes for us? We have the Page of Cups. And this is, it's a lot of blues here, but it's still this is a heart. This is upper chakras, right? This is third eye. This is crown. This is heart space, throat. What our ancestors are saying for us is to speak our truth, speak our desires, and do so from that center space of love. We have our cups. We want to fill our cup first so we can fill someone else's cup and those around us. And so what their hopes are for us as a collective is that we can be clear in our minds, but through our heart, through really centering into this creativity, this passion, this desire that's fueled, and that we can speak that, we can own that, and we can do so from this place of love. And if we can do that, right, that's the hope that gets us moving, away from, really using that talent that we have to discern what is holding us back, move away from it, see that as a lesson that we can clear away, and we can then embrace what is our legacy and what it is, what are the hopes and dreams of our ancestors for us in this realm, is to stay grounded, to stay focused, but really to stay grounded and focused through that center, through that love of what it is that fuels us, that brings us excitement, what makes you excited to get up in the morning, or, anything, cooking a really good meal and sharing it, or just sitting by yourself and reading a book, or watching, binge watching something on TV that's really great. Anything that you do, doing it free of any mental block or hindrance, any shame, any fear, any doubt, and just being really in that space. That is what this Page of Cups is really wishing for us and hoping for us. And that's the direct message that our ancestors are bringing to us today here as a collective. In the 6th space, we have, how do I make the most with what I have inherited? So 5 of Cups. It does not surprise me, the messages with Spirit. It just, because I haven't done this on camera for a larger audience, this reading is giving me chills, and it's only day 2 of my own personal what was it, like my vision board New Year's resolution. So the 5 of Cups as what, how do I make the most of what I have inherited? I don't know if we can see this, but the 5 of Cups is this feeling of being left out, of not having enough, maybe love, not having enough, it is a Cups card, so a lot of, attention. In this particular reading, the message I'm getting is this: what we have inherited is this ability to know the difference between loneliness and isolation that's self-imposed because of the blocks of fear and doubt and shame that over time we have let seep into our minds, and then taken space up in our heart. We've inherited from this very grounded, very stable earthly spot that's rooted. What we've inherited is that we know the difference. And so we know that this emotion, this empty feeling of not having enough, is within our control to remove that block, to move away from that block, to be open to accept the love, the freedom to speak our desires and our passions. We know that we have inherited that ability through our third eye, through our, that intuitive, tingle that we know that we can discern, like when we know it's our own thought or someone else's thought that's communicating with us, through our throat chakra, being able to speak it into fruition, into reality, to allow messages like through the grid, through this reading from our ancestors, our spirit guides, our angels, that communicate with us. The Five of Cups in this position of what we have inherited reminds us that while we have inherited the ability to know the difference, some of us, different times of the year, different times of the day, we can see this cup and not know the difference and be stunted by ourselves because we get in our headspace, and then we see this card and we think, oh no, I didn't inherit anything good. I inherited this. I'm isolated. I'm left out. I don't have enough. But because it's in the position of what we have inherited, it's spirit speaking to us clearly and saying, no, you know better. You've inherited the ability to look at this card and know that you have cups standing upright, filled for you. You just need to turn around, grab them, knock down learn the lesson and be free and accept the love. That's why it's in this position of what we've inherited, because it's a good skill and it's a tool we should use continually. And on January 2nd, 2022, it's not coincidental that this card appeared here. And this is here for us to know that. And for us as a collective to remind ourselves that we're starting a new year and the possibilities are endless. They're there for us to take. The Page of Cups is bringing them to us. The King of Pentacles is rooted in telling us we are these Knights of Wands that have all this passion and creativity. Sky's the limit what we want to do. We just need to move away from the mental block that sometimes will blind us to see the true meaning of this card in context to our reading, and this Tower that says it's okay to have to rebuild, and we do it all the time, right? Every time we go to sleep, our body regenerates cells. We're continually rebuilding and recreating just physiologically and biologically, and so we can do that in our everyday 3D tangible world of as we make choices and and get through our days. So I think this is a great card to get right here as what how do we make the most of what we've inherited? And this is how. In this final card, we got What Must I Do? And we got the Lover's card. And I think it's a really great message, ties it all together. And what we must do is lead from our heart space. And that is loving ourselves wholly, right? Our whole selves, what we bring, flaws and our fears and our doubts and all our stuff that we bring right to the table as individuals. We need to love all of that, and that allows us then through our heart space, through our center here of love, it allows us to receive these cups, to receive the cups that are standing, to maintain that rooted, stable core, and to live through our wants, our desires, and to not be afraid or shy away, from seeing that moon light up and having us move away from the things that are not serving us, and to not be thrown back or feel overwhelmed by needing to rebuild something, whether it's a new way of doing our daily job or a new job, learning a new skill for something we've always wanted to do but have been too afraid to. Maybe this is the year. It's saying, we can tell the difference, whether it's taking the plunge and starting to date again if you are single, or ending a relationship that may not be the best but you've conformed to, and now you want to something that means more, that drives you, that gives you creativity and passion, and that it's being offered to you, maintaining that rooted sense of self. And it starts with self-love. So I think that's a perfect way to conclude this speaking with our ancestors spread. I think our ancestors had plenty to say to us as a collective. The message was one shared overall collective reading from what I can only discern in myself, multiple ancestor spirits and angels bringing in this message. I will link this below so you can see what each card signifies. So if you want to do this spread for yourself, and then if you're doing it individually as you go through them, you know, you may be able to recognize exactly who it is that you're speaking with. I'll do one final oracle card from the, I believe this is the Ascended Masters Oracle deck by Doreen Virtue. So let's see. One, so final message. Let's see who is here. We have right. So perfect. I think our final message here from our ancestors today is to write. So the message today on the calendar was opportunities are everywhere. I have a multitude of choices. There's this beautiful tiger here, like in the snow. I would take this message of writing, and it's only January 2nd, so I think the vision board was a kickoff to start putting pictures to our words so we can visually see it. Once mine is a little more put together, I'll share it. But I think for day 2, I think we're being told to write is really a really good piece of, a really good suggestion to, I write down every reading I do, and then I journal about it. But also just what I want daily. I think the practice of writing is a very cathartic process. It can be, for many reasons, I think I personally subscribe to it. I do it all the time. It is part of my actual profession. I do write, but I think that it's clear as we wrap this speaking with our ancestor spread today, January 2nd, 2022, that as we sit with the messages, maybe we can write what we're feeling, what we're thinking, maybe add to our vision board some powerful words that we got here from our ancestors today. And with that, I will leave you, and I wish you a really great January 2nd.